Hi everyone, this is Sam Holmberg. Welcome to Learning and Unlearning. This is a place for authentic discussions only. We talk about self-improvement, wellness, relationships, and some interesting life events. Come on in. Today we're going to talk about gratitude. I'm going to explain the possible health benefits of gratitude practices and give suggestions of how to incorporate gratitude practices that are easy and simple into your daily life. I think of gratitude as one of those practices that is underestimated or treated as fluff. In actuality, gratitude has been linked to better sleep, less health problems, stronger bonds in relationships, and increased happiness. By definition, gratitude is a noun that means the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness. Similar words, synonyms, are thanks, appreciation, recognition, thankfulness. It's not too hard to think about why gratitude can be helpful in one's life. Gratitude helps you feel more positive, and it also brings attention to good experiences. Sometimes we just don't take the time to notice positive events or be thankful for small things among perhaps a bad day. In other words, gratitude brings attention to the things in your life that you do have rather than what you don't have. It's January 2021, and we have had a very, very tough year, meaning the United States as a whole and the globe, everyone as a whole. There are a lot of emotions to feel and work through, and there are a lot of news sources that are throwing at us significantly scary, anxiety-inducing events. And so gratitude could not be needed more than now. If you think about gratitude as a practice that only happy Zen people do, nix that idea right now. Gratitude can be especially helpful for people who tend to join the toxicity train. So if you get caught up in the whirlwind of negative events, which I'm not blaming you for, it's natural to be caught up in them. But if you do get caught up in them and you can't snap yourself out of it, consider starting a gratitude practice because it can help you not ruminate over horrible things and help you just calm your day, bring some peace to your day, let yourself get some things done that you actually have to do, and it will improve your mood and help you see some positives in the world. Usually, gratitude practices somehow help you recognize your connection to other human beings, and that can also help you feel less alone. The only time gratitude might not work is in the low percentage of humans who are true narcissists. With narcissists, those people can try gratitude practices and it can leave them feeling ungrateful. That term is actually called ingratitude. Arrogance, vanity, and entitlement lead people to be ungrateful, so the gratitude practice creates ingratitude. Ingratitude can directly harm the ability to be grateful. Okay, let's get to some information that I found in some studies. One article from positivepsychology.com called 14 Health Benefits of Practicing Gratitude According to Science states, quote, expressing gratitude reduces stress, increases optimism, and changes your brain, end quote. The author Corey D. Miller goes on to say that some studies showed that people who did gratitude exercises donated more money to charity. In another study, a weekly gratitude letter was associated with better eating habits. Gratitude can reduce inflammation when it's sustained over a long period of time. Gratitude in the workplace can make people have an increase in employee job satisfaction. It's really neat to know that such a simple practice of being grateful and being conscious of what you're thankful for and showing thanks to others for what they do for you or who they are in general can have such great benefits in tons of areas of life. Similar to other mindfulness, meditation, or prayer practices, gratitude is going to give you a more positive state of mind, and that's why it can prevent or decrease the effects of mental health issues. If you think about how that works, gratitude can increase your sense of control because you're noticing what you have and what you can do and what you're grateful for in the future, possibly. And so when you feel that confidence and that peace, you become more relaxed, and that leads to improved sleep, lessened stress, and possibly lessened depression. You might even have a healthier heart. I found these health benefits in the study I already referenced and also a study that was posted by Berkeley. It's important to note that these studies also note when gratitude practices didn't work. Some of the examples they have are a test group of women who were going through a divorce, people with significant health conditions, and people who didn't do the study for a sustained amount of time. So you need to practice gratitude sometimes from 8 to 12 weeks before you can notice any changes in your outlook. Although these studies weren't able to prove that gratitude practices always result in health benefits or mental health improvement, they cannot really hurt you. So they were proven to either work or do nothing, so you might as well do it. Let me tell you some ways that you can practice gratitude. The first thing you can try is gratitude lists. So you write a brief list, usually about the past 24 hours, of things that you are grateful for. They could be tangible things or intangible things. Let me explain a little bit more. For those who know me, I'm a teacher, and I recently asked my students to make gratitude lists. In order to teach them, I decided to give them an example of 5 things I was grateful for, and I showed them a paragraph I wrote about my 24 hours, and then I showed them my gratitude list so they could understand where the items on my list came from. This is the paragraph that I read to them. I had a peaceful Sunday when I expected it to be very stressful because I was going back to work after vacation. I did laundry, I went skiing by myself, and I watched TV. I was surprised at how relaxed I was all day. I made my lunch for the next day. I watched a really good movie called Brittany Runs a Marathon. I read a few pages in a book. I slept horribly. I woke up constantly because my subconscious was making sure I would wake up on time, 6 a.m. I have some physical pains that I wish would go away. There was a little snow on the road, but not too much, so my drive wasn't as sketchy as I expected it to be. I got to work and felt a little sick after eating breakfast. I texted my friend Jackie. Now I'm really tired. Actually, it was kind of funny because they thought that I texted Jackie that I was tired, or that I was tired because I texted with Jackie. But that's actually not it at all. They are separate sentences, and I switched to the present tense, which was a poor grammar mistake. So I ended up telling them that I talked to Jackie about exercising. We were both exercising or thinking about exercising. That fact matters because it shows up in my list. I then showed them my list and I asked them to guess where my gratitude lists came from, knowing the paragraph that I had read. My list says 1. A safe drive to work. 2. Good movies. 3. Planning ahead. 4. Things in common. 5. Snow-covered trees. They were basically able to guess where my list came from. My safe drive to work was when I mentioned that I thought the roads would be sketchy, but they weren't, so I was grateful for that. Number 2, good movies came from watching Brittany Runs a Marathon. Number 3, planning ahead, came from making my lunch the night before work. Number 4, things in common, came from texting Jackie about exercise. And number 5, snow-covered trees, was something that I was in awe of and found beautiful on my drive to work and when I was skiing. After my example, I asked my students to make their own list of 5 things they're grateful for from the last 24 hours. A lot of the times when I make lists like this, I'll end up putting half tangible, half intangible items on the list. So I'm frequently grateful for yummy food or coffee, and I'm frequently thankful for people in my life. Those are tangible. Intangible things are usually concepts like honesty or starting over or forgiveness. Let's just pause for a second so you can make a list of 5 things you're grateful for in your last 24 hours. I'll play some music while you do it. Here you go. How did you do? If you're interested in making lists, and if you want a lovely book that helps you make lists, there's a really skinny journal that has a smooth fake leather binding that I bought on Amazon. It's called The Jotter, and it literally just has one list per page. There's a spot at the top for the date, and then sometimes there is an occasional quote on a page about gratitude. Of course, you can use any old piece of paper, but if you want, I'm putting this Jotter link to Amazon in the show notes. If you're thinking that you can just do this list in your head and you don't need to write it down, there's actually a lot of science that shows that writing things down solidifies them more and makes them more real to you because your hand is doing the same thing that your mind is instead of just putting it in your mind and your brain thinking that this list is not in reality somehow. I would say gratitude lists are probably the easiest way to incorporate gratitude into your life. I usually do my lists before bed, and I've gone through seasons of doing them every day and then skipping a couple months and just getting right back into it, which is why the Jotter is great because it doesn't have actual dates or a calendar on it. You just put what day it is and start whenever you want. But a deeper practice would be a gratitude journal, like full-on explaining what you're grateful for. In the lists, when you make the list, you only have to write that thing like things in common. That's what I wrote when I was referring to texting Jackie about exercise and me appreciating that we had that in common and I could talk to a friend about exercise on a similar level as the way that I feel about exercise. So in gratitude lists, do not worry about explaining yourself. You're not going to look back and think about, what did I mean when I wrote that 5 months ago? Similarly, you're not meant to look back on a deeper gratitude journal to think about, what did I mean 5 months ago? But you are writing more in the moment to explain how you felt. So taking my example about writing things in common with Jackie, I might explain how I felt when we were talking about the exercise we had in common, what it felt like when I realized that we could talk about more things than maybe I realized before, and how I felt as a friend when I was trying to support her, and being thankful for the way that she was supporting me. I find that it's a common worry among people who haven't journaled that much. They're worried that they're going to sound stupid when they die and someone reads their journals, or they're worried that they're going to think, why did I write about this? It's so stupid and insignificant now if they look back on their journals. I encourage you, don't worry about this at all. How many people actually take the time to look back at their journals? Probably not that many. I used to think that I would because I thought, oh, this will be so great. It'll be so nostalgic. But I actually just find what's happening in life to be exciting, and my life is full, and I don't have time to look back on my journals. If I were writing a book, perhaps, like a nonfiction book about myself, I would look back on the journals. But generally, don't worry about that. Just write exactly what you're feeling in the moment, because that is the point. The point is to get it all out. It helps your brain process through it, and that's why you can live a happier life once you do practices like this. It means you're working through your thoughts and your feelings and your worries and fears, accomplishments in general journaling. and in gratitude journaling, then you're going to make yourself happier and go on with life. You don't need to worry about how it sounds when you're actually writing. Let's go on to another gratitude practice. There's one that you can do with a group of people or perhaps with your partner. You would get a jar at the beginning of the year and you have strips of paper, and perhaps once a week you write something on it that was good news or that you're both grateful for, and then you put it in the jar. At the end of the year, on New Year's Eve, you take out every piece of paper in the jar and you read them. It's a celebration, and it's a nice way to slow down and not jump right into the new year by looking back on your year. I bet that there will be things on the strip of paper that were great and you forgot about, and so it'll be really fun to look back and read it. That came from Dr. Caroline Leaf. It's her idea, and I'd love to follow her on Instagram if you want to check her out. She has a lot of good posts about psychology and mental health. One of the classic ways that people practice gratitude, they might not even be realizing it, but it's a famous meditation called the loving kindness meditation. Basically, you could find this online, and it would lead you through thinking and saying out loud that you are thankful for yourself, you love your body, you have a wish for yourself, and then you turn it around and you think of someone else in your life and you answer the same questions about them and put that positive energy towards them in the meditation. A common practice that a lot of religious folks might do is pray before dinner. Prayer does include gratitude. I found this card years ago, and I bought it because it made me think of my Aunt Paula, and it was a quote that I think is famous. I don't know who it is by, but it said, "If the only prayer you pray in life is thank you, that will be enough." And I thought that was really beautiful. The card art was beautiful, and it reminded me of my Aunt Paula's taste, but I also thought she would appreciate just the simplicity of that spiritual idea. A really easy but sort of vulnerable practice is writing thank you notes to people. And thank you notes used to be really common, and it depends on the home that you grew up in, but I remember writing thank you notes for various gifts that I received, especially thank you notes after a graduation party or if people came to a party of mine. I would sit at the table and my mom would help me find all the stuff in our craft drawer, and I would write individual notes, and I learned how to address an envelope that way and all that. And now I find that actually a lot of the teenagers I know, they don't know exactly how to address an envelope, or they can't remember what their zip code is. It's just interesting to think about. I'm not judging today's modern year where we don't really write letters anymore. But whether you're used to writing thank you notes or gratitude notes or not, it is something good to try, because not only are you spending a sustained amount of time thinking about what you're grateful for, but you're writing it down, which I mentioned before as being an added benefit to solidify the thought, and you're sharing that gratitude with someone else. A really complex way to practice gratitude is to recall a negative event, and if it's far behind you, usually you can try and practice gratitude by seeing what came of it, or finding what is present in your life now that you are grateful for that would not have happened or wouldn't appear the same if you had not gone through the negative event. In a similar vein, you can think about what you have done to someone who you love that was not great. What that means is it's a reflection exercise. I'm still referencing positivepsychology.com, and it looks like it's called the Nikon reflection exercise. I don't really know how to say that word, but Nikon means looking within, and it's a Japanese word. So you ask, what did this person give to me? Giving. What did I return to this person? Receiving. And what trouble did I cause this person? Hurting. The article says, quote, "Doing this reflection helps to grow feelings of gratitude and appreciation for others. It also allows people to discover how much they take versus give in personal relationships. End quote. Another article by Berkeley explains how gratitude changes your brain. So, your brain becomes activated in the medial prefrontal cortex when you're thinking about gratitude or experiencing gratitude. So, down the line in the future, your brain will be sensitive to gratitude and it can activate the prefrontal cortex faster. That will eventually lead you to be a happier, healthier person because it'll be easier and quicker for you to experience gratitude, which can lead to the health effects that I mentioned in the beginning. All right, that's enough gratitude practices for me to share with you. You can go try them. Let me know if you do in the comments. If you feel like you are learning or if this could help someone else, please share my episode so that it can reach other people. Much love, Sam.